But we were going to talk about the Maryland shooting over there at the Capital Gazette. And maybe you guys can help out a little bit on this too. Alright. Alright, now it's time to switch it over to the more ominous music. Maybe I'll do Doreen's favorite, the Dark Times. Although I kind of like Impact Prelude. I think Impact Prelude works better for this, like an investigation. So how are all of you doing tonight? Gonna make this a shorter evening. My wife has some mouth surgery tomorrow, so we're gonna be getting up early for that. Good. Oh, and by the way, there was another case, a 42-year-old case. I think it's 42, 1970, 44-year-old case, 1974, solved today using that DNA. And right when the police showed up at the guy's house, he blew his brains out. So this guy was 71 years old, and he killed a woman in a church in 1974. He killed her, and it was just incredible. It's like, I don't know, this guy had to have been a serial killer of some sort, because he killed this woman by putting a candle up her private parts, and then he stabbed, and then between her chest, another candle, like one of the church candles, and then he stuck an ice pick in her brain, and then he left her out, sort of spread out on the ground, and they never caught the guy. All right. So they did that same ancestry deal after all this time, and it turned out to be like a maintenance guy at the church, something like that. But, you know, all those years, and then when the police showed up at his house, he just shot himself in the head. He probably knew. I think there's a lot of people that know with this new technique out there, they are in trouble. I think thousands of people are going to be arrested in cold cases. At least hundreds, for sure. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about this, the shooting today at 88 Bestgate Road at the Capital Gazette in Annapolis, Maryland. And one of the parts that bothers me the most about this was all of the idiots that immediately started saying, "Oh, he's just a crisis actor. This is all fake." You know, they know. I'm getting so sick of that. Everybody always starts off with it not being a real event. If you can actually point to one that wasn't real and prove it, I'd be shocked, because you can't. Okay? There isn't one. Crisis actors are people that are paid by the government to practice an event. They pretend they have a broken arm. They don't use them to fake real events. Well, how do you know, Gray? Well, because I have a brain, all right? That's kind of where that comes from, all right? Yeah. Sorry if that offends you. Some people actually have brains. And, oh, and here I am. I do exist. I just wanted you guys to see the full screen of that Beaver final pitch. And that announcer, by the way, is one of the best, Mike Parker. So let's get back to the... Now I'm going to switch it back off of my face so I can do whatever the hell I want. All right. So they actually know who this guy is now. The police haven't said exactly who it is, but they figured it out. Everybody figured it out. Jarrod W. Ramos, 38. He's the shooter. And it has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. And if I had $1 for everybody who was out there on Twitter, Twitter went nuts. They were trying to blame this one conservative gay activist guy who said something about, you know, shooting broadcasters or news people. You know, he said something about that a while ago. But it had nothing to do with this guy. All right, so let's see. 5 people are dead. Let me turn this down. 5 people are dead after a gunman opened fire Maryland's Capital Gazette newsroom on Thursday. They should have had the word "in" there. Okay, opened fire in Maryland's Capital Gazette news. Police responded within 60 seconds to reports of an active shooter at the newsroom at about 2:40 p.m. The suspect, identified as Jarrod R. Ramos, let's see if I can, this little thing's on my way right here, was taken into custody following the shooting. Police say newspaper had received threats before the deadly shooting. Ramos had unsuccessfully sued the newspaper and one of his former reporters in 2012 for defamation. So he tried to sue the newspaper and a reporter for defamation. Police sources said the gunman purposely damaged his fingertips so investigators could not couldn't fingerprint him. And he also didn't have his ID on him, so they had no clue who this guy was, but somehow, I guess they used facial recognition software to figure out who he was. Let's see. Authorities said that they recovered a long gun, classic, you know, an AR-15, what they thought to be an explosive device from the scene. The 5 victims are Wendy Winters, Rebecca Smith, Robert Hyacin, Gerald Feshman, and John McNamara. Phil Davis, a court and crime reporter for Gazette, said the gunman had shot through the glass door of the offices and then opened fire on the newspaper employees. Intern Anthony Messenger tweeted at 2:43, "There was an active shooter, please help us." So that's the guy right there. You know, the classic killer look, you know. What do you mean, the classic look, Ray? I mean, can't people... Listen, come on. Take a look. Having a drink. Yeah, he's got those shark eyes, right? The gunman who shot dead 5 people and injured 2 others at Maryland's Capital Gazette newsroom had previously sued the newspaper and threatened staff after they exposed him for Facebook stalking a woman. Jarrod R. Ramos, 38, was armed with a shotgun and smoke grenades, so maybe it wasn't an AR-15. Maybe they're saying when they say long gun it was a shotgun, but normally when they say long gun it means an AR-15. Although I guess, you know, a shotgun's long, but I always thought that that's what they meant when they said that. And he had smoke grenades when he launched the attack on the journalists in their newsroom in Annapolis on Thursday afternoon. He was arrested shortly after police stormed the building. Ramos, who lives in Laurel, Maryland, had refused to identify himself to authorities in the aftermath of the shooting, and as we already heard, he damaged his fingertips so that you can't get fingerprints from him. I think he expected to die too, you know, because why, you know, other than that. But he seems like he cowered out. He didn't do the suicide by cop at the end. He probably said, "Oh, it might hurt too much." You know, like when Jodi Arias said the reason she didn't kill herself, she thought about it many times, but when she tried, it just hurt too much. Okay, by the way, I'm going to have one of my friends from a long time ago. She seems interested, but she's still a friend now. And but in my first moments of social media 5 years ago, and my very first post, She was actually the first commenter on that very first post. And it's funny how my post led to this huge thread that went on for months and months and months. I was on the HLN pages, and we've been friends ever since. And she knows that case and the Casey Anthony one, so it might be good to do like a reset with somebody else that actually knows those cases inside and out. Let's see. There is no known motive at this stage, but police said it was a targeted attack. Well, what do you mean there's no motive? You said above in the article he'd been sued. You guys sound like, I mean, what kind of writing is that? Above you said, oh yeah, he was sued, and the same paper, but we have no known motive. Really, clown? He didn't win the case, so, you know, he's still upset about it. How do you not know that there's a motive? Let's see. Ramos was the subject of a 2011 article titled, "Jarrod Wants to Be Your Friend." After he pleaded guilty to criminal harassment, the article described him as having threatened and harassed a former high school classmate on Facebook. He sent the woman numerous emails spanning several months, calling her vulgar names and telling her to kill herself. The defamation suit thrown out on appeal in 2015 because Ramos failed to prove that what the newspaper had printed was untrue. He repeatedly tweeted at the newspaper from his Twitter account, which used handle at, okay, there we go, at Eric Hartley Friend. All right. So that's what I was looking for earlier. So I'm going to load this sucker up. Twitter. Okay, so that's not his real face right there. You see that? So this is him, I guess. Huh. Look at, he was pissed off already. Is this real or? Well, apparently this is his Twitter handle. Doesn't have his real face on there. But man, he's pretty active there. Look at this. I mean, just... So 10 hours ago, he wrote, "F you and leave me alone. Judge Moylan." So who's this guy? Oh boy. The judge of fledgling court had a reputation, said, for being rebellious, a rogue. I hope that reputation never fully... Huh. I'd say Moylan should kill himself, but I hope he lives to see this. Then the crooked prosecutor can F off like Frank. I guess he didn't tweet all the time. These are back in 2016. But he did just post, it looks like 10 hours ago. Weird. Interesting. He repeatedly tweeted and at the newspaper from his Twitter account, and I just read the username, and he would tweet to the reporter who wrote the initial story. Was that more fake crying act or blood on their hands at Capitol News? Either way, actually, it doesn't matter, he tweeted in 2014. In a tweet directed at the reporter, Ramos tweeted in 2015, "Eric Thomas Hartley knows from experience, but doesn't appreciate how bad it can get. Journalist, hell waits." Journalist, hell waits. So this guy was already mad at the journalist way before Trump was ever president. So all these people saying, oh, it's Trump's fault, you know, are just absolute morons, okay? I was on this other live earlier just listening, and these people would show up, and they just were so sure it was fake with crisis actors. They're probably scanning the footage now to find that brown-haired girl that seems to be in all of them, because there aren't a lot of girls with brown hair. In a tweet directed at the, let's see, police confirmed that the newspaper had received general threats sent over social media on Thursday that indicated violence. The acting police chief said at a press conference late Thursday, this person was prepared today to come in. This person was prepared to shoot people. His intent was to cause harm. So I guess, are these the victims right here? That's crappy. Yep. Ramos was reportedly under a desk when police found him after storming the building. Authorities said they recovered a shotgun from the scene as well as what they thought to be an explosive device. Police said the device was taken care of but didn't elaborate. Look at this guy. Looks like one of those look at it, he looks like a vampire. Like he purposely made these incisor teeth really long right there. Wow. Sounds like an absolute whack job. I mean, the first of all, you know he's a nut job based on what he just did here with his beard. So he has this really long beard, and then he puts a rubber band right below the chin, and then you have this huge puff ball sticking out, all right? He should probably have put a bell on it. Police were preparing to search Ramos's home, second building from the left, so this one, or maybe this one. I don't know, that's hard to tell what they were saying. Thursday night following the deadly shooting. I wonder where that is. See, there was a lot of people accusing other people on social media. They should all be ashamed right now. Unbelievable. And I mean, accusing them of causing this. This guy has absolutely nothing to do with politics whatsoever for the shooting. He was angry at them for what an article they wrote about him. Okay, but of course that's fake, right? That'll turn out, oh, well, that's what they say, but of course it was just another event to try to take guns from people. It was crisis actors. You know, if we could work the Illuminati in, we would. I'm just still trying to figure out that angle. Who's we, Gray? Who's we? My friends on social media. Okay, I gotta quickly throw that in there because if you don't say that, people go, "Oh, we," as in psyops. All right, what's this other? Okay, so here is. I don't know if this was from his like this is 2013. This image here. So, white, non-Hispanic male. His name is Spanish, but he's not Hispanic. Let's see. What does this say here? The 38-year-old man suspected of killing 5 people at the offices of Maryland newspaper group on Thursday had a long-running feud with the Capital Gazette. But we just don't have a motive, you know what I mean? He had a long-standing feud, and he's tried to sue him, and they made him look bad in a newspaper, but we just don't have a motive yet. If we could just... God, I can't put my finger on it. Attacking the Annapolis-based family publication in the courts and on social media. Jarrod Ramos, suspected of killing 5 people at the offices of the Capital Gazette newspaper office in Annapolis, Maryland, U.S., June 28, 2018, is seen in this 2013 Anne Arundel Police Department booking photo obtained from social media. And Reuters. Law enforcement sources told the Capital Gazette that police had identified the suspect as Jarrod Warren Ramos, a resident of Laurel, Maryland. And you know what I hate the most is when people don't make him famous, don't make him famous. Listen, you can't talk about this case without talking about the shooter. I'm sorry. I'm going to mention his name. I don't care about that crap like that. It doesn't make him famous. It makes him infamous. You know, people don't like him. It's not like they go, oh, wow, he's so cool now. Oh, well, it's just so they don't feel like they're important. You know what? I don't care. All right? This is, you're telling us the story. You're getting it out there. And the guy happens to have a name. All right? So it also helps so other people can look him up. Or maybe somebody might recognize him and go, oh, my God, I remember talking to this guy in a bar. He was saying this. All right, so almost a year earlier, Thomas Hartley, a former columnist for the Capital, the newspaper, one of the group's papers, wrote a column describing the suspect interactions with an unnamed woman Ramos contacted over Facebook. Court documents showed. And then Hartley said Ramos sent her numerous emails in which he called her vulgar names and told her to kill herself. We talked about that earlier. The lawsuit named Hartley, its then editor-publisher Thomas Marquardt and Capital Gazette Communications, then the parent company of the paper. Ramos had pled guilty to criminal harassment 5 days before Hartley published his column. Records showed. He claimed in court documents that his perspective was not fairly represented. His lawsuit was dismissed in 2013, and an appellate court upheld the dismissal in 2015. You know, to be honest with you, it's kind of weird that a newspaper would do a story like that. You know? I don't know. Doesn't seem to rise to that level. That's a little strange. Like somebody harassing somebody on Facebook. So it's in a newspaper. It's kind of odd, actually. As the case made its way through the courts, a Twitter user calling... Well, it might actually help if it was done more often, to be honest with you. Some of these clowns that show up on YouTube, if you could actually send in their comments and then send it to one of the papers, might be pretty interesting. All the racist comments that are made. And I don't mean from me. They get made towards me. As the case made its way through the courts, a Twitter user calling himself Jarrod W. Ramos posted numerous tweets critical of the Capital Gazette, Hartley, and the Maryland judges. See, I still don't understand why that paper, the Daily Mail said they don't know of a motive, yet their articles have this entire story in there. How do they not know that? Like, yes, the motive's really pretty damn clear. He hated the newspaper for what they did, what he thinks they did to him. He hated the newspaper. I think that's pretty clear. He was paying them back. That's about as clear a motive as you can possibly get. Yeah. I think that's really about it. I mean, does anybody have any more information on this guy? Because I think that's just kind of the story. He went down there. I mean, maybe we could get some details on how it all went down, but... Yep. Marissa, thanks. Yep, that is me, though. Okay, I'll tell the story again for all of you guys. I was born L. Gray Hughes, you know, and I was always going to be called Gray, like you guys call me, right? But the doctor, he was a family friend, And he wrote Lance on the birth certificate. Okay? So it says Lance Gray Hughes on there. But I was never supposed to be called Lance. And my parents, because he was a family friend, they go, oh, yeah, whatever. Because they were still just going to call me Gray. But now, you know, it makes things more complicated. Like I have to sign everything with Lance on there, but I don't go by that. Although sometimes my friends call me Lance. And then some people, my friends call me Gary because of how many times people call me Gary. They say, hey, Gary! Yeah, but if you want to support me on PayPal, it's even better, Watcher. Because PayPal doesn't take... Super Chats is ludicrous. They take 40%... YouTube actually takes 40% of what somebody donates. I find that outrageous, to be honest with you. They already make money on the ads, and then all of a sudden somebody's trying to donate, and then they take 40% of it. Oh, he was a leftist, huh? He does kind of have that look about him. Especially with that rubber band on that long beard. This is his Twitter page right here, right? I mean, I don't mind too. Like, Super Chat's so easy. You know, I'm just saying, in general... let's see. Who said that? Hey, Jim. Is this the Twitter page right here? Jim Horace? Oh, yeah? Well, dang, Brittany, you should have driven down there. Got us some footage. I've never heard about family and friends. Yeah, maybe we should go through this Twitter and see what's going on with this guy. Like, you know, let's go back to some years back, see what he was all about. I bet he wasn't dating anybody. Maybe that's all he needed was a good woman to keep him from doing all this. His whole life was nothing, he would probably think. Maybe he's a little bit like Elliot Rodger, you know? Now, this guy tweeted more than, like, people that actually have people follow them. I don't even know how many followers this guy has, but man, he's just tweet, tweet, tweet all day long. Look at that. What's weird is, see this guy right here in this picture? That's the guy that he has up here. So who is this guy? Is this really his Twitter account? Because there's a guy standing right here. Eric Thomas Hartley viewed Kushner Plan's fantasy from the start. So that's who this is. Right here, because that's the same guy. I don't know if you guys can see that very good, but well. Let me make this bigger here. Can you see that? Like, this face here is this guy. What if there's some meaning behind that? Well, I wonder what this little square is that he has on the forehead of this character here means. The two diamonds. That's kind of interesting. Must be an Illuminati sign. Of course. Somebody will figure out a way to associate that. So what happened to the guy a minute ago that mentioned Jim? Did he make any more comments? I don't think I've seen that. You know, I know one thing for sure is YouTube doesn't like this topic that we're talking about. So when the video finally, when I get done with this live, they're not going to monetize it because they're going to deem it inappropriate, even though I'm just talking about something. You know, of course the news can talk about it and nobody doesn't pay for the ads between them, but if apparently when we talk about it, it's just not sensitive enough. In anticipation of forthcoming rape and murder, I'm now officially more famous than Jarrod Ranish. Huh. In anticipation of forthcoming rape and murder, I'm now officially more famous. This must have been after he was accused. He was saying, oh, he's going to do this stuff, and now he's in the paper. I'm kind of wondering why he has this guy's face on there, though. Maybe what he was doing was taking the person who made him look bad in the paper, putting their face on his Twitter account, and then responding to it, therefore making that guy appear to be the one that did all these things. So his real face isn't on there. That definitely isn't him. Yes, Marissa came in. Thank you. Appreciate it. Looks like an Appalachian Amish dude. Yeah. I'm really digging the beard with the rubber band. This part right here. It's good stuff right there. Really good stuff. He looks different here, though, doesn't he? That's because it's not the same person, Gray. It's a clone. The same people who... No, it's the same guy. See the nose right there? Yeah, same guy. Everything's the same. Yep, and here's some way to prove it right here. Watch this. See right there on the eyebrow? He's got a scar right there. You see that? On the right eyebrow? See that scar? Maybe you guys can see that. Well, he's got it right there too. You can see it right underneath there. It's not as prominent, but you can still see it right there. I don't know if he's Jewish. His last name is Ramos. I mean, what does it even matter if he's Jewish or not? I don't get it. It almost seems like he had surgery on those teeth. to make him look like a vampire. You see that? Like, look at that. That's nuts. I don't think you'd want to get in a fight and be bitten by that person. Well, how come you guys are talking about Jewish people? What's going on? I don't want, like, racist bullshit in my chats, okay? Yeah, I'm just talking about the scar on his eyebrow. It kind of pretty obvious. Yeah. It just seems weird. Like, who cares what religion he is? I mean, it's, you know, unless he was, I would say, you know, if you told me he was Islamic and was an ISIS member, then it might matter to me. But other than that, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. Yeah, so don't mention that kind of bullshit in here again about religion, or you'll just have to get out. Alright. You know, oh wow, he's, you know, it's just, that's ridiculous. What does that mean? Is there somebody in here named Patsy Cline? What's the joke about there? No, it's not another hoax. It's real. This is a real event here. This really happened. There's no crisis actors. There are no Illuminati involved. No organ harvesting. No sex trafficking. The Freemasons have called it quits on this one. Okay. There's no false flags. This really happened. Okay. Yeah, it's not fake. This guy really did it. He was angry. Alright. I'm gonna probably need my wrenches to knock out some of these lunatics here. What are you talking about? What's hallelujah talking about? Are you there? What does that mean? Hey, lunatic. Hallelujah. You're a lunatic. If you think this is fake, another false flag, crisis actor, bogus, bullcrap, get the hell out of here, okay? I don't do that here. That's somewhere else. Go make your own videos. And wear your tinfoil hat, have a little UFO on a plate floating around behind your head, and, you know, have fun with that, because that's not happening here. All right? It's not a conspiracy, JoJo. This is no conspiracy. It's a guy that took a gun, went in and shot some people. Yeah, the hallelujah guy, you can actually just block that guy. I'm not interested in having them in my ever communicating again in here. The whole thing, look at every damn shooting that there is nowadays. You get these clowns that show up and say that it's a crisis actors and it's fake, and the Illuminati, and the organ harvesting, and the sex trafficking. I mean, look at those last two things. Those exist out there, but they're not in every damn case. Okay, so this one is all about, oh, it's a false flag, crisis actors. Every single shooting that's popular gets idiots that say stuff like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. You think it makes them look cool, too. Like, oh, yeah, look at me. I'm on top of it. No, they've already done that, JP. It's been out all day. That's what people started saying at within an hour after it. They go, oh, you think this is real? Come on. Jeez, look at this. It's, yeah, it's like Sandy Hook, right? All those parents lost their kids, and because they didn't look and act exactly how they wanted them to act, now, of course, oh, it's a big conspiracy. They're just crisis actors. Oh, do you see that one brown-haired girl? She's in all the shots. Look at lunatics. It really happened, okay? It's not a false flag. It really happened. What are you referring to, JP, when you say, are you serious? God help this country. Yeah, yes, that it happened. They were doing it earlier in the day. Right. I already showed that earlier. It's right here. Look. 88 Best Gate Road, Capital Gazette. And we can go down and do a street view, but it was right down here. Right here in this building. And the law enforcement and everything was set up like right back here, right on this intersection right there. No, it's just how people are. And the thing is, it's not, there's no, you know, a lot of people think, you know, one race or another is more, look, it's not race specific, these conspiracy things. I mean, it's like literally absolute nut jobs everywhere. Okay? Every single time there's a shooting of any kind that makes the news, it's a conspiracy. How come they don't say that, like, let's say in Chicago, every day there's like 5 murders or something, right? How come those don't have crisis actors involved? Because they're not on the news. Nobody even talks about them because they're so frequent. They, whatever. But when there's a shooting in any building, it's always a staged event to affect the Second Amendment rights. That's what they say. And it never turns out to be true. I have never... Have any of you actually ever heard of a staged shooting where it wasn't real, but they made it look like that was actually proven to be true? Seriously, can anybody say yeah and then point to something? Didn't think so. Man, I'll tell you what, they had almost the entire police department of the whole state there in like 10 minutes. Would have been a great time for a bad actor to do something else somewhere else. See, that's why it makes people, law enforcement, nervous, is the head fake crime. So let's say you had somebody pretending, well, they're not even pretending. Let's say you had a guy that goes in and does this shooting, but they were actually part of something bigger. So they go in there and they draw all of law enforcement to this area. I mean, look at this. When you look at the shots of like this, there's actually wider shots where there's literally like 100 police car and all of the SWAT units and everybody are there for this one event. But then, let's say they were all there, but then the real attack was somewhere else. And that's what makes people nervous And that's what they do a lot of times in terrorist attacks. And so when you watch this, you get a little bit nervous. It's a little bit overkill, you know? Like, you have a shooting going on. I mean, I can see them sending in a SWAT unit and, you know, 30, 40 police officers or something like that. But you almost send in the entire department, it looks like. I don't know. Maybe that's what they need to do, overwhelming force or something. But it seems like you're sort of opening yourself up. And these bad people, they actually watch this stuff and go, oh, that's interesting. Look how everybody went there for this one guy. Yeah, what mental illnesses did this guy have? Kirna. Maybe he has Asperger's or something like that. You know, like Adam Lanza and Elliot Roger. Somebody earlier said he's a big lefty, but I can't see anything that makes him look like a lefty. You know? I mean, other than he does kind of look like somebody that would live in Eugene, Oregon. Not Corvallis, that's where the Oregon State Beavers are. The Ducks are in Eugene. Right, so here's the thing, is this guy named Milo Yiannopoulos for hours on Twitter was blamed for the shooting. Because apparently he did say something, let's see. 2 days after Milo Yiannopoulos said he can't wait for vigilante squads to start gunning journalists down, I mean. So that's what he said, right? So I can see people, you know, kind of going, oh, whoa. But it had nothing to do with that. So why don't you wait till you actually catch the guy? And when you catch him, then if he said that, well, Milo told me to, then, you know, maybe you'd have a point there. But he didn't say, that's not why he did this. Or, you know, I mean, I guess I can't say I know that for sure. Let's say he hated the newspaper a lot. Then he read that tweet and was like, okay, I'm going to go do what I've always wanted to do. And it added a little motivation for him. But the thing is Milo didn't kill anybody, right? He didn't tell anybody to kill anybody either. He just made a statement. So it takes a whack job to actually do something just because someone else said. I mean, remember all the stuff that, what's-her-face said, Madonna said after the election? That she wanted to blow up the White House? Well, what if somebody had gone in there and did that after she said that? Would it be her fault, or would it be just that this lunatic went and did it? That. Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, the newspaper is what printed what Milo said, right? It was actually in a tweet, a message conversation with a reporter that he was angry at, and he said that to that reporter. Then the reporter published what he said in a private texting conversation, and that's how it got out in the media. Isn't that crazy? So it's actually the reporter's fault. Now look at this moron. Let me get that. See you later, JJ. Well, it's more the media's fault than Milo, right? No, I'm not saying you're not understanding, Kiernot. That's the problem. You weren't paying attention. What I was saying is that people are blaming Milo for his comment. What it turns out that the reporter actually published a private text conversation with Milo to try to make him look bad, and that his comment would never have been out in the public. So it's actually the reporter who did that. It wasn't Milo saying, hey, you know, this is what I want everybody to see. He didn't tweet that out or something. DJR wrote, do feel people are more disconnected from each other because of social media, computers, etc. I don't know. I feel more connected to people through social media, to be honest with you. But if you mean like disconnected in terms of, do you say things that you might not have said in person? Yeah, I think that probably happens a lot. Is there anything new in this article, Doreen? Anything new in there? Well, yeah, the reporter shouldn't have reported it. It was a private conversation. He was texting, they were arguing back and forth, but he thought, ooh, you know, the reporters are unethical. Like, I got to tell you, the Beaver County reporter, he's like one of a kind now. The media is a joke right now, okay? The guy at the Beaver County, he's how you should be as a reporter. The media in general is an absolute embarrassment. Just turn on CNN for an hour and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And the thing is, I'm just being, even if I wasn't Republican, right? Let's say if I wasn't Republican, if I was being intellectually honest and watch CNN at the same time, if I was Democrat, let's say, if I was intellectually honest, I would know that they were full of crap. I would be going, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Every day, one after the other. They don't even show, I don't know, I forget it. They're just totally the most biased people I've ever seen in my life, you know. Deadliest day for journalists in the U.S. since 9/11. Right, that's what the motive is. Attack on the newspaper. That's what we were saying. So it's really pretty obvious, right? They don't even bother with, okay. Yeah, MSNBC, just watch Morning Joe for 5 minutes. And okay, here's the thing. You know the kids at the, I mean, this is off topic here, but the kids at the border, that was actually a law that Obama even followed. All of it. It wasn't even invented by Trump. You know, here's the thing is, when somebody's arrested, right, for breaking the law, you don't keep their kids with them. That's just how it's always been, right? Like, let's say somebody did a minor crime like shoplifting, and they're going to be in jail. Do you put the kid with the parent in the jail cell? No, it doesn't work like that. It never has. Okay, but they made it look like they were actually comparing this to what the Nazis did in Nazi Germany. It's not even close. I just saw a whole video of it. Like, CNN went in there and there's swing sets and everything's nicely set up. Yes, it's surrounded by a fence, But, and then it was just the way MSNBC and CNN tried to portray that was very disturbing. They should be ashamed of themselves. You know? Yeah, it has been. And Trump just enforced the policy. And Obama did the same thing. He had these kids, they were held there. But when the media covered that, it was, well, he's doing it really compassionately. It's always, whenever he did something, was always had the best intention. When Trump does it, he's got malintent. It's always something horrible. And the sad part is that's what makes it scary, because 95% of the media is against Trump, right? So they come up with all these wild stories, but when they have their own guy in the office, they cover up everything. Everything is great. Wonderful stuff. I mean, like the Fast and Furious, you remember that? They covered that up. Lois Lerner with the IRS, they covered that up. Remember, she got on there and said, I didn't do it, and then pled the fifth for every single question after that about giving tax-exempt status to organizations to raise funds for political campaigns. If they were a conservative group, the IRS wouldn't give them that. But if you were a Democratic one, they would. And Lois Lerner knew that, so she kept pleading the fifth, after she claimed she didn't do it. But as soon as she claimed that should have waived her right to claim the fifth, but nope, didn't do it. Hey, SL Skeeter, have you ever considered the fact that the Delphi killer could be Lithuanian? Have you ever considered that? I'm just curious. Yeah, that's why I made that statement, Daro, because it's like, why ask that question? It's just one of those dumb things. Have you ever considered have you ever considered that they're from Mexico? Have you ever considered they're from Latvia? Now that is a possibility. Latvia. Or how about Equatorial Guinea? Do you say that because you heard when you listen to the audio of the suspect, he says A? Is that what the deal is? Because he doesn't say that. He doesn't say, down the hill, eh? Oh my God, maybe he does. Oh! Yes, I think that's it, Bandit. Luxembourg. You could hear it in his voice, right? Definitely hear it in his voice, and I think the beard gives away Luxembourg. Yes, you're right. Jeez. Oh, boy. Yeah, you know what? I can say this, SL Skeeter. It's possible, okay? It's possible, all right? But that's why I don't like answering questions. That's why I made a little smart-ass joke, okay? Because have you ever considered he was from what do you mean? You know, have you ever considered he had a zit on his right upper cheek? That's what that's like. It doesn't mean any, you have no basis of making the comment. There's no underlying fact that leads you to that. So we could sit there for a month and a half and talk about all the what ifs in the world. Let's have something that leads to that, okay? Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't outside the realm bandit, but it turned out not to be true. He had nothing to do with that, why that guy shot. Although I guess it's still possible that, you know, that sort of was his, got him going that day. You know, even though he's already angry at the newspaper. I don't know, SL Skeeter. Maybe. Maybe he has. He's probably going, dang, how did he figure that out? Jesus. Hey, SL Skeeter, had you ever thought that maybe he's reading you say, Mr. Hughes, this may sound creepy, but do you think he is listening to your analysis? Do you think it's possible he's actually reading that too? Like he's in this chat right now listening? You just never know. I love Joe Kenda. I watch Joe Kenda all the time. Joe Kenda is actually, I feel like a little bit of a kindred spirit with him. He talks like me a little bit. You know, he doesn't, like when I'm watching him, I go, oh, wow, I would have said that. Because he doesn't care about how he words something. It's pretty good. I don't think so, Skeeter. I really don't. Yeah, maybe. See, I don't do the maybe game, all right? I mean, I'll do a maybe game if there's some facts that make you think that. You know, like, wow, there was a, you know, something leads you to actually make a comment. But I don't want to do this, the thing where you sit around all day and go, do you think it's possible that? Yeah, people that listen to me on here, whenever I hear, is it possible that, with no facts whatsoever, backing it up, I don't even want to answer the question. Because it's almost always yes. You know, is it, because look at this. This is true. I could actually make this comment right here. Is it possible that an alien put this killer at the scene today? Is it possible? I mean, if you believe that there's extraterrestrials out there and they have the power, and I'd have to say, well, it's, you know, it's possible, but it's like 1 in a trillion, you know? I don't think socialists have common sense, JP. Sorry about that. Socialism always leads to something a lot worse, unless you're Sweden. Yeah, it always leads to communism. Yeah, we don't want... Yeah, that one girl that got elected, if she wins that Congress seat, she just, all she won was the primary, which shows how left the Democratic Party's gone. You know, but she won the primary, and let's see what happens there. I don't think she's gonna... Now, I think they have a less chance of winning that seat now, because people are gonna go, are you kidding me? Jesus. But who knows? There you are. Sweden. Basically, almost all of Europe is socialist. Yeah. A lot of social services, free health care, all that kind of stuff. You know, 60% taxes. I remember that one Will Smith interview. They were saying, yeah, you have to 75% taxes over here. Do you remember in the United States? Most of you probably don't remember this, but when Jimmy Carter was president, the upper tax bracket was 75%. I mean, why bother even trying to have a job? Like, oh wow, I make $100,000 a year, now I get $25,000. And then you got somebody making $40,000 and they bring home about 20. Like, they barely, you know, So what's the point of achieving? It's a joke. That's true, Kirnath. There's a lot of absolute whack jobs out there. Let me see what's going on my YouTube comments right now. Let's see if we can pull one up. There we go. See if we've got anything. It doesn't look like there's any on here related to Kanika. Amazingly, usually I got like 5 or 6 of them.
So I was on the phone with a client and heard a loud noise, like an incredibly loud bang, and I poked my head around the corner of my desk so I could see out our front door into the front door of the Capitol Gazette, and I saw a guy. I saw a guy holding a gun. The door of the Capitol Gazette had been blown to pieces. It was in shattered pieces all on the carpet. And this guy was holding what looked like a big shotgun and moving across the entrance of the Capitol Gazette office, pointing the gun deeper into the office, like he was targeting people.
Keith, did that man say anything?
I have no idea. I heard some indistinct shouting after another couple minutes before there were some more gunshots, but he didn't. I mean, I only looked at him for a second, right? I ducked my head back behind the wall as soon as I saw the guy.
Got a little staticky. You guys hear that static?
I didn't hear him say anything distinct.
After you tried to hide, what'd you do?
Called the police. Called the police. And they got here really fast. I mean, they got here real fast. The police were here in a couple minutes, and they checked on us in our office, made sure we were okay, and told us to just hunker down. And they, I guess, got the guy pretty quick after that.
Are all the people in your office okay?
Everyone's okay, yep.
Did you see anyone get hurt?
I did.
You notice how every time he speaks, they're static? I think he's actually a digital character posing as a crisis actor.
I did. I looked around the corner a second time and I saw a young woman who looked like she'd been hurt. She was on the ground.
Injured?
I mean, there was a bunch of blood on the floor, so I assume so.
Did you see the shooter get shot, or did you?
No. I saw him move across the entrance of the office, and that was it.
and then.
That's right. It's a hologram. Kelly Gray nailed it. This is not real here. All done in a Hollywood stage, much like the moon landing people.
After you called the police, where'd you go from there?
We stayed in our office until a second group of police officers showed up. They actually broke down our office door, and then they escorted us out. You know, they escorted us out with our hands up over our heads.
Did you hear that? Hands over his heads. Oh, Jesus. What a joke. Who does that? Who puts their hands over their heads? See, that's the kind of comments I get. You know, how can you just walk upstairs intoxicated? Well, the same way 1,000 people do it every single night after getting home from a bar smashed. Yeah, I didn't realize they called, when they said long guns, I always thought they were talking about AR-15s. But apparently a long gun can be a shotgun too. They went to Jarrod. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Asphalt Cowboy 94 said M22, the sniper rifle. The only one that pissed me off more than that was when I saw people trying to convince others that it was ghosts and demons that lure her into the fridge. Oh yeah, that. Yeah. I'll tell you what the worst part is when people say there's layers in the footage released by Rosemont, the video files. There's no layers in there. It's just video. It's poor video, 640 by 480. Well, Asphalt, I think PayPal is probably the best. I mean, I think they get like 2%, you know, some small percent, but the super chat is insane now. Like they take 40% at least, and then you get taxed on what you got. So it's like if someone gives you $1, you take home 40 cents. Yeah, they take a smaller check percentage. I don't think they take much at all out of Patreon, just some, you know. I do have a Patreon. In the description of the video, I have all that information. So if any of you'd like to contribute to my channel, that would be great. I don't normally spend time, you know, pushing that stuff. I don't know. It's sort of not my gig. I feel kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's you know Google's doing. You know, Google owns YouTube. I think that was a great purchase on their part when they bought YouTube from some private person. Because I mean, YouTube is basically it, right? I mean, I know there's other video people out there, but YouTube is way ahead of all of them. That's right. M22 is a patron, or patron on Patreon. And so is Daro. And I think some others on here. Good night, Kim. That's right. Talking with the freaks. And you are on the Justin's on the Patreon. Yeah, Patreon's kind of like a monthly thing. You know, some people do like, I've had some people do $1. Some people, I have one person that does $10, which is that's pretty high for Patreon. But you know, any amount helps, right? I had somebody actually send me $100 on PayPal, and I was really appreciative. I was like, wow. I mean, that's a couple people. I think Darlene sent me a pretty big one time. Yeah, it does do something like that. I think you know, you select which one you want, and then they you have to, you know, put your account information in there. I don't see that information. I just see your name. Yeah, there's people that support a whole bunch. I think M22 supports a bunch of people. Lorden, stuff like that. Thanks, Carrot. Yeah, some nights my brain doesn't function. It's not. I can't get the words out of my head. Like I haven't been sleeping very much. That's the problem. Because there's some nights where I'm on here and all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock. Oh, and it's 2 in the morning, and then I'm off of the live, and then I go to sleep, and then my mind's racing, and then I watch TV for an hour, and then I get up at, you know. So I think I need to like do them maybe a little earlier, where I'm done at 11 or 12 West Coast time. Maybe 11, you know. Because look at it right now. It's already 10:10, you know. Yeah, I always liked John Lorden. He actually I guess he hurt his back. I was looking at him do his video, and I saw he had sort of like rings under his eyes, and he was sweating. And I thought, God, is he okay? And then it turns out that he was playing racquetball, and he hurt his back. And so I told him, because I've hurt my back horribly. One time, this is crazy, but see, most of your life you're standing up, right? I mean, you're standing up, sitting down, but all of your weight is always going down on your spine. So one time I went over to a light switch to turn it on, just something really simple, like I was going to make coffee for my wife in the morning, and I reached over to press it, and then all of a sudden, boom! There was this, I couldn't even breathe, and I fell right to the ground, and I was just sort of huddled up, and I couldn't breathe for a while. It took a long time, and then I could barely walk without walking like a caveman, where I was completely bent over. And then while I was walking like that, I hurt my neck that I had problems with, because I have like a C7 deal there where it pinches in, and then that lasts, even after my lower back was better, that C7 part lasts for like 2 or 3 months, where there's always this pain. You have to almost hold your head up with your hand. But here's the crazy part is, after all of that healed again, I went to Costco and bought an inversion table, and that fixed everything. I mean, it didn't fix everything, but it totally changed everything, where I don't have anywhere near that problem anymore. What you need to do is you get on an inversion table, and when you first get it, I didn't realize this, but at first I'd hang it at like the 45-degree angle, right? Because you got this little strap, and you're hanging from it, and it was feeling pretty good. But it wasn't until I literally did the free hang with my 2 feet, where you're just hanging there. And listen to this. I remember I was hanging there, and I could feel it sort of hurting, and all of a sudden it went I mean, it was like, and my arms wiggled. It was like this crazy, it went bang! And then I got up from there, and I felt like a gymnast. I mean, it was totally different. And so now I get on there every day for maybe, I don't know, 2-3 minutes at least, and it just pulls everything apart that your body never, because nobody ever hangs in that position. And then when I went to the doctor after a previous neck problem, I said, hey, I got an inversion table. And she goes, oh God, you know, this is an actual surgeon, not some naturopath, you know. She said, oh, listen, everybody should have an inversion table. He goes, she said, I would recommend every single person have one. So if you don't have one, and you have any kind of back issues at all, and I don't work for these people, this should have been a paid ad, but you should get one of those teeter hang-ups, you know, but Costco has their own version of it, and they absolutely are worth having. Yeah. If you have any kind of lower back or anything like that, just get on there, hang completely free. Maybe start with the 45-degree angle one, then hang from your feet, and then over time, it's nuts. It's crazy, you know, and exercise, do all that stuff. But then now you're letting, I don't know what's going on. I actually don't even know what's happening, but maybe you're allowing fluids or something to get in between that were gone or something. I don't know. All right, so that's all I got for you on that. So we went from a shooting straight to teeter hang-ups. Now you tell me any other live show that would ever go that range. Okay, we got a range on this show. Yeah. Frank White. Never seen Frank spelled that way before. Just checking in. Do I know you? Yeah, I stream, I do stream. You know, sometimes I have something I'm going to be talking about, and then we talk about it for a half hour, and it always ends up for about an hour and a half of random conversation. Sometimes about crime, sometimes about other things. And sometimes it actually does end up being the one topic the whole time. And I have been talking to Sheila Wysocki again. We didn't do the other show before, but we have been talking again. And I think around the 11th of July, she's going to come on, and we're going to talk about how her and I met, some of the cases we worked on, and then she'll talk about how she started doing that, and then she's gonna talk about the podcast series that she's actually doing. It's really going to be interesting, because it's going to be like you have a private investigator and then a narrator, and then you have this story being told. So she's going to be talking about her first podcast series is about the Lauren Agee case. And you might want to check that out. So look that up. But that might be on the 11th. Then on, let's see, I think next week, it sounded like it could happen. I might actually be talking with Becky and Mike Patty. Becky for sure, but Mike maybe, and then maybe Derek. Wouldn't that be awesome? And this is for the Libby and Abby case. Because that way we could just communicate, and they can tell us all the stuff that they know about what was going on that day and everything. So this would be next week. So I can't guarantee any of this stuff, because you know, people have their own lives and stuff, but these are conversations I've had, and it sounds like they're going to happen. Yeah. Oh, cool, Frank. I just read Frank's comment. Yeah, well, I hope, you know, the thing is I got to tell people, I mean, people here know, you know, who I am and what I do. The entire Kenneka Jenkins case, I was as honest as I possibly could be, and I only put out stuff if I knew that what I was doing was true. Okay? That's it. Now, there was some, you know, occasional comment here and there, like when I thought there was a bulletin board only in that lower kitchen, but it turns out it was a window with papers on it. You know, yes, I did make those kinds of mistakes, but those aren't, like, crucial. And I've put out all the information. And here's the thing, is I just watched the video. Last night, we did it on my live, of the Holmes character that was at the beginning of the Kenneka Jenkins case. And he told the truth. But you have people saying, oh, he took back. He admitted he lied. I can see him admitting that he said that he kind of could see that she went back there. But he didn't lie to anybody. He worded it just how I would word it. It's obvious. You see her walking back there. She doesn't ever leave that area. So the only thing that you can conclude from that is that she opened the cooler up and she went into the freezer alone because nobody else was on surveillance. And that's where the conspiracy comes in. I couldn't find any updates on the Del Tondo case. I did look today though, Marissa. I did look. Yeah, the Del Tondo case is crazy. I mean, it's literally, you know, every time I bust it back open again, I start remembering, wow, this is insane. Yeah, they still hate on me every single day. They always say, oh, Gray, you must work for the hotel. You should be ashamed of yourself, you know. And I say, Well, you must work for the hotel because you've never made a video on it. What are you hiding? Yeah, like somebody said today, every video you make, Ray, it seems to kind of cover up for the hotel. And then I say, well, you haven't made any videos, so you're trying to hide the whole thing. That's about all I can say back. Look at it's not a cover-up for anybody. I don't see any of the crap that a lot of you make up about the case. It's not real. It's fake. Every single bit of the things that are said are totally bullshit, bogus, everything. You know, every other adjective I can say is exactly what I'm seeing. You know, go watch some of these videos where they take it, process it about 50 times, start putting all these little layers, and they go, oh, look at this, and it just looks like a kaleidoscope. I mean, where the hell are you getting that? I got the clear footage. You do too. Go to the Rosemont website, download it. If you got a question, ask me about it. I'll tell you the name of the clip, then you go download it. I'll tell you the name of it, though, so you can find it quickly instead of... Like the other night, I came on here and I tried to do a show where people could come in, ask questions about the surveillance, and nobody asked anything related to it at all. It was just total garbage. You know, there was a couple of cases I was looking at today that people sent me. Pretty weird stuff, really. Missing persons, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow. No, you sent... Oh, let me go check. Hold on. Yes, Asphalt Cowboy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I did get it. Thank you. Yes, it says Lance on there. Yeah, Lisa Lamb was his first one that he did, basically. Yeah, the KJ one... He got me some, but it seems like after I quit making them, I got more, you know, when I started doing all of my other videos. What's weird is I never tried to get subscribers before Kanika, but I'd been doing videos for 3 years at least before the Kanika Jenkins case on all kinds of cases, and I would take weeks making some with animations, but I don't have the time anymore to do that. So... yeah, well, thank you very much, Asphalt. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've looked at the Lisa Lamb thing. I'm not, you know, I don't think I'm going to make a video on it. If I did make a video, it'd be just like everybody else's. I think that's a weird case because she ends up, I think they found her naked inside the water tower on top of the hotel after you see her walking around by an elevator for a while. But you know, she was like she had a mental disorder and she took drugs, and so who knows. Yeah, thanks, Frank. Yep, I seem to get, you know, between 30 and 70 subscribers every day, so that's a good thing. I haven't had a day in a long time where I actually went down. I mean, I don't even remember going down. Oh, yeah. When you say called here, what are you talking about, Carrie? Handmaid's Tale was pretty good. We'll just have some drinks now, and then the 6 hours before. Hold up, 6 hours before we leave, you can have something to drink. So like 3 in the morning, you can have a drink. Yeah, and then an hour before we leave at 8:30, you have to take 4 of the antibiotics, not the other drug. But go to sleep. Okay, come on, please. All right. Had to get some more Gatorade and give my wife her instructions for she has to get some massive mouth surgery in the morning, so. What did Leak say? I think I was trying to converse with somebody. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, really? You're kidding. That's hilarious. Somebody called the police department. My husband's an officer here and he knows I watch your videos, so he told me the other night. Oh, come on. So somebody actually said, does Gray work there? I don't know, man. I'd have to see evidence of that. Well, you know what? I believe it. There are so many people called my work. Yeah, somebody actually called my work and said, do you know that Gray puts out conspiracy videos? And then they said, well, he actually debunks conspiracies. Do you know that? And they're like, yeah, he makes YouTube videos, you know. And then 2 people have called my house. Yeah, she's doing the whole implant thing. They don't, LJ. That was a while ago. They quit doing that. I think most of them don't even believe that anymore. I think they just, you know, when I say they, I'm talking about the people who believe that, okay? They isn't a racist term like everybody always wants to say. You know, they is part of the English language. It's okay to say they. I don't really know anything about King. It's King. I don't even know who that is. I hear people talking about him, but I don't watch any of those channels at all. Rita. Let's see. I'm just reading comments. Yeah, let's just remove that. That guy's name is like a strike almost. I'm gonna just... Yeah, we're not even on here. What a stupid name. See you later, Tony. Hello, Alex. Not going to be on here much longer, but yeah, I was watching a you know, when you have a conservative guest go to a campus, this one girl, you know, the guy walked up, you know, the person that walks around with the mic in the room and then you hold it in front of their face. She was like, you're not giving me freedom of speech by not letting me hold the mic. And I'm like, so speaking has something to do with holding the mic? Like, what is that? They're not even related. Oh yes, LJ, all crisis actors. You should go down and check. Yeah, there's too many. I have like 1,000 cases I'm looking at right now. You know, you can send me an email. I can have it in the somewhere. What was the one I was looking at here? The Houston mom, this lady right here. See, this one was on Nancy Grace's podcast, but somebody showed it to me before, and then I happened to find her talking about it. But this girl was on her, let's see, this lady, she was in the morning, she dropped her kid off at a daycare, I think, and then was heading home. And then she just sort of disappeared, and there's a whole bunch of these text messages that don't seem to be from her, almost like an alibi text message. But her daughter, apparently on Nancy Grace, has all kinds of issues, mental issues. You know, and the daughter's really young, but she has, like, I don't know if they're diseases or whatever, but it's a struggle. So, I mean, I know they're not talking about this angle, but I think it's possible she just wanted out of that whole thing, and you know, and left. I know that's not what everybody's saying, and maybe that's, you know, that's not as likely, but I was already thinking that before I heard that it's possible that because she still had her purse, her phone, and keys with her. But anyways, I'm gonna kind of look at that more too. So oh yeah, I'm like a Swiss Army knife in terms of jobs, right? You guys know them all, right? The 911 operator, Matthew Rose, an attorney, a bald-headed billionaire, a police officer, lawyer, you know, all of that. Just all in one. Whatever you want me to be, by God. Because you know what? I'm a crisis actor. This whole thing is fake. Everything. This entire existence on YouTube is really me pretending to be a YouTuber. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm actually fictional, a digital character that doesn't exist. I live in the Matrix. How do I know this is even real? Yeah, I looked at some of that stuff. I had it mapped out. Six Flags dancing bald guy. I don't know. I don't want to think about that. But anyways, I think this is about it for tonight. Hour and 43 minutes in. Covered a lot of topics, like I said before, from a mass shooting to teeter hang-up inversion tables. Now, you name, like I said, name any other YouTuber that has that kind of range. Or maybe they're just not as crazy. They're not as freaky. Thanks, InterQuest. Thanks, Marissa. Yeah, me too. I mean, I know it's just sort of, you know, implants and things, but, you know, you have to get put under. I'm not into that stuff. But Yeah. So, hey, nobody can leave yet. We got to play the closing song. And we all know what that's called. What is it called? Furious Freaks. Oh yeah, I gotta do my Google Earth. Boom. Anyways, hey everybody. Thanks for showing up tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me play my Beavers win the national championship and listening to all the extra stuff that we talked about. But I appreciate having you all on here. And thanks for the donations for everybody who donated tonight. And until next time, everybody, be safe out there. All right.